What's up, guys?
Morning, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
We wanted to start off with a really fun video. You brought this up Friday, and I thought
Yeah.
it was awesome.
We've been talking about this for a while. This is a conversation I've nerdily had with a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
Songs that are written specifically to help promote a movie, to be in the movie,
Yeah.
as background.
Yep.
And the song actually helps the popularity of the movie.
Yeah.
And the movie, in turn, helps the song become a hit also. It's got to be a pairing.
Yeah, we're not talking movies that use songs famously. Not like Then
Right.
Many Kiss Me from Goodfellas.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
the-
exactly.
The song
There's-
is made for the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that make songs popular, but the song has already existed. So we're not talking about Unchained Melody from Ghost, right? Or
Clay.
right, You've Lost That Love and Feeling from Top Gun.
Yeah, well,
Bohemian Rhapsody
Top
and
Gun
Wayne's
has a great
World.
one.
Top Gun has a great one, of
Yes, it
course,
does.
but that's not one that we're considering. Also, we eliminated songs because we didn't want musicals to be much of a thing
Mhm.
that are actually performed by characters in the movie.
Now we're talking like songs they play on the radio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. So, like, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," it was made for the movie, but it was performed by Madonna in the movie. It was part of the plot,
Yeah.
right? So that kind of rules out anything from musicals, anything from like Disney musicals, so animated
Yeah.
musicals where they have the song where people sing. Obviously, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper had that big hit
Shallow.
from Shallow, right?
Yeah.
But again,
It's in the movie.
written to be performed in the movie. We're just talking about a song that a popular artist made to kind of have to sell the movie.
I'll give you an example of one of my favorites. I don't know if this is in the top 5. I Don't Want to Close My Eyes by Aerosmith.
I am not an Aerosmith fan, honestly, and I get it. It was a monster hit for Aerosmith.
No.
It obviously helped really sell
Armageddon.
which is I don't know if I don't like the song because I don't like the movie, or I don't like the movie because I don't like the song.
It is so nostalgic for me. This was always on ABC when I was a kid.
Right.
And so, like, I remember, like, it was, like, super late. I think they had just done, like, not Armageddon, Pearl Harbor on TV, and they
Of
played,
course,
and they
right.
played Armageddon, and my mom was watching Armageddon with me. And, like, obviously, spoiler, Bruce Willis dies at the end. And they
Right.
start playing the Aerosmith song, and she's, like, bawling, and I'm like,
I was in the theater when
This
that
song rocks.
happened, and people were just bawling.
It kinda gets ya.
That's my father. Harry. It got people for sure.
so, Grady, there we go. Armageddon. What's one
Right.
for you?
You know what? Here's one that I had a lot of fun with. First off, we can't even have this conversation without acknowledging the guy who made a cottage industry out of this in the 80s. Kenny Loggins,
The Log Man.
right? Kenny Loggins was the go-to guy in several films, 4 big ones,
In
right?
the 80s, yeah. He's got my favorite.
Danger Zone or Footloose, or Caddyshack,
Caddyshack.
or Over the Top. Caddyshack.
Caddyshack's my absolute favorite.
I'm All Right. It's a great song.
I freaking
and a great
love that
movie.
song. I'll play it in the summertime just driving
Right,
around.
and that's the thing. It's got to be an iconic song and an iconic movie pairing, right? St. Elmo's Fire, Man in Motion, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Is a really good example. There's a million. We're gonna forget some of them. I was getting ready this morning, like 20 minutes before you got here, and like, oh yeah, Ghostbusters popped right into my head then because I didn't like research doing this. I just wanted the songs that like stuck with me. And there are a ton of them. Flash Gordon.
Oh, by Queen.
By Queen.
Yeah.
What are some others that you were considering for the list?
Okay. This is considering this is not actual list.
Not actual
Okay.
list. Just what are some songs that stick out to you as like, yes, this really works. This would be in contention.
Okay. Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head from Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. For you younger guys out there, I'm a big movie nerd, obviously. Like, I love the 60s films. But they used it in Spider-Man 2. They're making fun of Butch Cassidy when he's like walking around without powers.
Right.
But in Butch Cassidy, it's fantastic. And
the bicycle scene.
Yeah. Who wrote that? It was BJ Thomas. I think it's BJ Thomas. And I was listening to some podcast recently where they were like, BJ Thomas's career was like ending, and they asked him to make music for this movie, and he did not think it was going to be a hit. They thought
that song was a major hit.
They thought it was going to ruin the movie.
That song was a banger.
And it became iconic.
Yeah,
I mean?
it
I
really
don't think
did.
he had much of a career after that. Actually,
you probably didn't realize
Ironically enough.
how big of a hit the movie was going to be. Because, like I said,
huge movie.
right? The last movie, because I was trying to think of like, this was really something that was big in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
Which I think you have to give credit to the Bond movies for.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of created this.
Yeah, I mean, Goldfinger.
Right.
I mean, Thunderball, Tom Jones.
Live and Let Die.
Oh, Live and Let Die is awesome.
Right. And then it kind of went away a little bit, except for the Bond movies, and then it had its heyday in the 80s. Right. I feel like you could find Jefferson Starship from a Mannequin. Nothing's going to stop us now. I mean, there's a million in the 80s.
There's one huge one from the 70s that we can save
What's
later
that?
on.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Is it going to be on your list?
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I think the last big one, because it's like, when did it kind of stop? And I think in the '90s it was kind of winding down. Obviously, Armageddon is, and they still do.
I think that
them.
was the big crescendo was the Armageddon song.
It was, but I think there was one big one that was still left to come a few years later.
What's that?
My Heart Will Go On from Titanic.
Oh my god!
I was like, what was the last big one? And that's the last one I can think of. I'm sure I'm missing something, and I'm sure guys in the comments let us know that like I said, I didn't do any research. Let me know what is a big one I'm just not considering.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that is
now I'm thinking of the 2000 songs.
And honestly, I'm not a huge, like, Titanic wasn't like, I wasn't as crazy about Titanic as a lot of people were. I think it's a good movie.
I do too.
I don't think it's among the greatest films of all time, like a lot of people do.
It's cheesy.
Right. It's Romeo and Juliet on a boat.
It's the same thing with Avatar, though. They say it's the greatest movie ever made because of the
ticket sales and
technical aspect.
Right. But yeah, but I feel like that, with Celine Dion and Titanic in that summer when we were, children,
we still hear it.
Right? Was there and when you hear the song, you think of the movie, and when you watch the movie, you listen for the song, and that is as good a pairing as it gets.
I like it when they do the movie, but you don't hear the song. You just hear like the oh my gosh, like the melody of it. They just use the score, incorporate the song into it.
And let's go ahead and get to our list now before we babble, because I want to start with one of those I adore. And we haven't talked about our list, guys, so we may have some overlap. So
we probably will.
Apologize if we do. But one of the ones I put on my list of the top and one of the reasons is exactly that, because not only do you hear the actual artist song in the movie, right? But it's kind of instrumentally played throughout, and I love that. I love when they incorporate the song into the score all the way throughout, and this happens more than once on my list. But I'll start with An Officer and a Gentleman.
That's on my
Love
list.
Lift Us Up.
Yeah, we can both start there because I love that song.
I love that. It's an iconic movie, which is what you want.
I think we've mentioned that a couple times here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked about Officer and a Gentleman more than once. It's an iconic film. Right? And that song is perfect in that movie.
It is. Like him picking up Deborah Winger.
Way to go, Paula!
Yeah, and like them walking out through the factory while everybody's just like staring. Is there
awesome. Is there a more iconic scene from the 80s, right? It's got to be up there.
It's got to be up there.
And the song is such a big part of that.
Well, speaking of the 80s, Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Don't You Forget About Me. That's what we call you.
Great song. Became a massive hit because of the film. It was a closing credit song. It's been a while since I watched it. Does it play anywhere else in the movie besides as they close it down on that epic shot of Judd Nelson?
It's been a while for me too. I'm pretty sure it's just the end of the movie because I think the rest of the movie just has like
other 80s pop songs.
80s pop songs, yeah. All right, that was my 4. What's your 3? Or what's your 4? I'm sorry.
This is a corny one that people are probably going to be like, what? But I'm going to go with When You Get Caught Between the Moon and New York City, or whatever the actual title is, from Arthur. You know what I'm talking about?
I like Arthur enough.
Right.
It's not super rewatchable.
I was a very small child when I first saw it, but the song just stuck.
It's
even as a little kid, right? Yeah. It's written by
70s. There you go.
Right. It's written by EGOT legend Marvin Hamlish. I don't even remember who performs it, but Hamlish wrote it, and it's just it's such a great song, and it just really captures the feel of that movie.
Yeah.
Russell Brand tried to remake the movie and never should have done that.
I was going to mention that. Whenever that remake came out, it was always on. I think it was HBO. And HBO played the original Arthur, and they would always play the new Arthur.
Right.
And so I was Arthur out that summer.
Did you watch the new one?
I did.
I didn't because I heard how bad it is. Is the song used in the movie in any way? Is it re-recorded, remixed, not even there?
I can't remember. If anything,
I can't remember. I have no idea.
It's remixed, but I don't think it is. It was honestly quite a strange film. It was this Russell Brand being Russell Brand for 2 hours or whatever.
Yeah. What's yours?
For 3? Okay. I mentioned Caddyshack. I want to throw Caddyshack back up there because I'm All Right. It's such a great song.
It's a great song.
But I do want to shout out Danger Zone.
Danger Zone.
Because that's the iconic Kenny Loggins one, right?
I think if you're going to have any honest conversation about music written for film, in this manner, you can't have the conversation without Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins is the guy.
It's his corner. It really is his corner.
Well, I mean, the peak of its use was the 80s, and no one was more prolific in that time. At the peak, it's Babe Ruth playing in the in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
No one is more prolific at their 20s for but anyway, more prolific in their peak than Kenny Loggins was during that.
Well, we talked about Top Gun when
Right.
we brought this up. We're like, oh, it's Top Gun, right? And then we really thought about it.
Yeah, we thought of others, but I think that's the one that just pops in your head because he's got Footloose too, which is also an amazing song for a film.
But I didn't realize anyways is that he re-recorded Danger Zone
for the new
Maverick.
Gun. Yeah, for Maverick. Yeah,
That makes me love Maverick even more now. You know,
for sure. They went right back to him and said, "Do you want to redo this?"
Also, how weird is it in the '80s we had two like naval training movies,
right, with Officer and Gentleman in that.
Yeah.
Don't we talked about this, right? Don't you kind of feel like Top Gun was
It's Officer and Gentleman like
redone,
on
right?
steroids.
Yeah, I think it definitely influenced Top Gun, Officer and Gentleman for sure.
It's borderline ripoff.
Almost, right?
Yeah, and I love Top Gun.
I mean, it's naval pilots, right? That's what it is. Training to be naval pilots.
His best friend dies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for
Spoiler.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. Top Gun, I was having so much fun thinking about, and I didn't really consider that Top Gun actually doesn't just have Danger Zone. It has two iconic songs that get used throughout the movie, and they're both to let the audience know what their mood should be at any given time.
Yeah.
Because you have "Take My Breath Away" that plays through the whole movie, including the weird tonguing lovemaking scene.
It's PG,
right?
And it's like it's the most awkward sex scene of all time.
And yeah, and it just lets you know, like, if something fighter piloty is happening, we're playing Danger Zone.
Yeah.
And if something Tom's trying to get some is happening, we're playing Take My Breath Away. He's trying to hook up with Kelly McGillis.
It is the ultimate heck yeah song. Even when they played Maverick in the theater, like they started playing Danger Zone, and some guy went yeah,
for sure,
and it was awesome. And the whole theater cheered.
Well, I mean, like the opening of Maverick was a copy paste of the opening of the original,
and
even though it was actually redone. It wasn't the same footage or anything.
No, it's redone, and after
the
30
song
years,
and everything,
you kind of
redone. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, it got me goosebumpy in the theater.
Cheering, man.
Exactly.
Maybe 3 times that summer.
So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So 2. I struggle between 2 and 1. I think this has to be 2 because 1 is my personal favorite. I forgot all about this until I was watching the Capital One ads they're doing now with John Travolta.
Oh,
Staying Alive by the Bee Gees.
That is a great song.
I totally forgot that was made for the movie.
It was, yeah. And the Bee Gees.
That was the big 70s
right.
I was talking about too.
I don't know. That is a good one. I'm not sure what the time frame is, but the Bee Gees originally, I saw something like on VH1, some behind the music thing or something, to where they just were normal singers. And the falsetto thing came as a response to the disco era happening. And of course, that's what made them blow up, is when they got into the disco falsetto singing. That's how they became iconic.
It is insanely catchy.
It's still catchy.
Everybody knows that song.
The Refugee All-Stars sampled it brilliantly. Well, that's how good it is.
So at work, we play a lot of football games and stuff, and obviously the John Travolta Santa ad from Capital One is playing. And like you just hear that beat drop, and all of a sudden, like you find yourself walking to the beat, and you're like, "What am I doing?" You know what I mean?
What feel I doing?
Yeah.
Strutting.
Yeah. How's the hair?
I had a friend that put a new sound system in his car when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing he played and really cranked the bass up on was "Staying Alive," which you wouldn't think would sound that good with a really good stereo. It definitely slapped. It sounded so good on a really good stereo.
They did. Okay, so if you guys, I go to YouTube, and I encourage you guys to check it out. Somebody made a mashup of "Staying Alive" and "Back in Black."
Oh yeah,
just the "Back in Black" guitar riff, and it's the "Staying Alive" lyrics. It's awesome.
I would check that out. I've not heard that.
It's really cool. Okay,
my 2. I'm going to go with 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton from the movie 9 to 5 starring Dolly Parton.
I'm showing my butt a little bit here. I did not know this was a movie.
Yeah, Joe never heard of it.
Film major movie nerd. I'm like 9 to 5.
Oh, great. Dabney Coleman is the villain, the chauvinist boss, and your 3 put upon ladies who decide to get revenge: Dolly Parton, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin. Iconic cast.
I need to see this movie now.
It's a really good time. I recommend it.
I know the song. Obviously, that's an iconic song, but that's a great example of what we're talking about.
Right,
here. Songs that kind of transcend the movie.
I was like probably 5 the first time I saw this movie on TV, and I was dying.
It's funny.
Oh my god, it was so funny. As I got older, I understood it better. Like, oh, we're dealing with misogyny, and we're dealing with workplace harassment and things like that.
Is it nuanced at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny and it's definitely over the top. But I mean, for the time period, it was pretty bold.
70s,
80s, early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I'd say early 80s.
Right, I didn't check this movie out. Yeah. I know.
Sorry, we did not do a lot of research here. We're just going with what stands out to us.
I just can't believe I never heard of this movie. It kind of blows my mind. All right, my number 1. This is the film nerd major in me coming out. Actually, this is just a great movie. I don't know who doesn't like this movie. I'm not saying this is the best song, but Mrs. Robinson from The Graduate.
Simon and Garfunkel. That's really solid. It's a great song and a great movie.
It was made in '67. And I feel like you could put it on today, and any kid, any just person that has no interest in movies would be entertained by it.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie. The editing is fantastic in it as well. Like there's like the famous shot of when the song drops in the movie is when he's driving over the bridge to go see her. And it's like you have goosebumps. I have goosebumps right now thinking about it. And also
as a satire, as a romance satire, it's amazing.
About like what do you want in life?
Yeah, exactly. Plastics.
You're trying to seduce me, Mrs. Robinson. Great movie, and I also like the Lemonheads cover of it as well.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That I think that came out in the '90s.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. I wasn't even sure it was them that did it.
Yeah.
I was like, there was a cover. But yeah, I mean, that's a great example, right? Because you have a song that's iconic, has been a song in the national consciousness for decades.
Yeah,
and it's a great movie. It's got I'm not sure, but I'm pretty confident it's on the AFI Top 100 Movies of all time.
It has to be. Any of you guys that are in college or finishing up college, check that movie out. It's amazing.
Right. It's a what do we do now that we're done with school, and what's adult life? What's it like to be an adult now?
Yeah, the facade of being an adult.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, adults don't actually know everything.
Exactly.
My top one, and I went around a lot on this. I'm going to go with Survivor, Eye of the Tiger, Rocky 2.
That's the granddaddy of them all.
It's a great song. Obviously, it's from a great film series.
Yeah.
Rocky 2 is not the movie that Rocky 1 is, but let's face it, Gonna Fly Now just does not have the same type of popular appeal as a song
sure.
as Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, it's a great song. It's iconic. You hear it, you know exactly what it's from and everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're going to the gym and working out, someone's playing Eye of the Tiger while you're there on their music.
So much so to where it's almost like tongue in cheek now.
For sure.
You know, when I was a kid, I had a wrestling coach who would play Eye of the Tiger in the gym,
right.
You know, and we'd be like, everybody's looking around, and then like you kind of like get past the cheese and stuff, and you're like, actually, this is a great song.
Great tempo as far as exercise and everything.
I think that's what it is. The tempo.
Tempo's great.
Don't stop moving. You know,
it's an absolutely banger of a song. And then in Rocky 4, they did the Hearts on Fire song. Which
I love that one too.
I don't.
You don't like that one?
I have argued a lot with friends that like this song really slaps. I'm like, I think that song's really corny. As a montage song, I think it's terrible.
To be fair, that movie is like objectively bad. But it's still great. It's still like it's bad, but
it's the last good bad Rocky movie before they just got bad. Oh, terrible!
But like him running up the snow,
right?
Him doing the shoulder press. Was it like a cart or something?
Yeah, whereas Drago was like using real equipment, and they're showing the juxtaposition. He's splitting logs while he's like taking steroids and punching 1 ton per square inch power punches.
I need to watch Rocky 4.
It's such a wild. I honestly think that they used a montage multiple times in that movie. I think there are multiple training montages in that.
I think,
which is you don't want to overdo training montages, and they do in that movie. I think they do it more than once, and I think they might use the song for both of the montages.
I think I know 3 has a couple.
I think they have the montage where Apollo dies.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Yeah. And so he's got a Dark Night of the Soul riding around the train and stuff, you know, playing it over and over in his head montage, and then the training montage in Rush in the Snow.
When I was a kid, I laughed whenever the reveal that Apollo died happened because it comes out of nowhere.
It kind of does, yeah.
You think he's just like really hurt, and then all of a sudden it's like fade to funeral, and it's like, what? when Apollo died?
When I was a little kid, they spoiled that in the trailer.
They did?
On TV before they released the movie. There was like they're showing the fight in Rocky outside the ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, he could have stopped the fight. He could have saved his best friend's life. And it's like, so I haven't even, so it's not even released yet. I haven't even heard the release date yet. And you've spoiled the fact that Apollo dies in this movie.
Jesus.
They let that out as a part of the marketing beforehand.
Well, at least you knew what you were getting when you got it.
Yes. Look, emotionally prepared for the fact that we are manipulating you.
Okay. That could be another video we do, is like what trailer has spoiled a movie.
Let's do that at some point.
Because I have a couple that I want to rattle off. But
right. Oh, for sure. That got to be high.
But guys, this was so much fun for us. Like we could easily talk for another 30 minutes about like movie songs.
Dozens of them. There were so many that I was thinking about. I'm forgetting them now. There's like, oh yeah, that one. And like in the moment, I'm like, what did I think about that I'm now completely forgetting?
Gangster's Paradise is one.
Tootsie.
What is that song?
Something's telling me. I can't sing because we'll get copyrighted. It Might Be You.
It Might Be You.
All of My Life.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Must Be You. Might be. I don't know.
I think it's. It Might Be You.
let us know. And guys, whenever you leave your list down below, which we really
Please share your list. We are forgetting stuff for sure.
Abide by the rules. No musicals, no Bond songs. Look, I know we have all the time in the world.
Right.
From On Her Majesty's Secret Service is a great song. It technically does count, but no other Bond movie has a song where it just plays in the movie.
That's why that one counts, right? They actually use it in the film and not just as the opening credit, right? Not just the opening credit sequence, right?
And it's weird too because that's not the opening title song for that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched it on Prime a long time ago, but I didn't catch that.
Yeah, the opening title sequence is just some random Bond instrumental. But yeah, leave us your list down below. Barbie doesn't count either. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm just Ken. He sings it in the movie, even though it's a great song.
Yeah, there are a lot of great songs that are performed in the movies, right? Yes. I think Coco has some songs, right?
Yeah.
Disney has a ton of them.
Yeah.
That's why we want to leave those out. We could talk about musicals forever. I mean, if you're going to do musicals, I'd be like, well, Mr. Cellophane from Chicago, as performed by John C. Reilly, was amazing.
I dreamed a dream.
Yeah, but it was, a character performing the song, which I think is a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But this was a good time, and let us know what we forgot, because I guarantee we did.
We left out a lot.
We'll catch you in the next one, guys.
See ya.